Well, good morning, friends. How is everybody today? And I hope everybody is enjoying their weekend. I know I had my grandbabies here. They just went home today, and oh my, am I wiped out. My granddaughters are a flipping riot. We did all kinds of stuff. We went outside and went sliding. We had fun, and of course they had their slumber party, and I, splurged a little and got some extra goodies and, chips and stuff that I don't normally buy. But you know what? They had a slumber party. So my house looked like a bomb went off in it. But my grandbabies are just amazing because they can come here and my place can be upside down. But before they go home, they clean up everything, all their mess. They pack all their toys. This morning they even helped me make the beds. They helped me fold the blankets. They vacuumed the floors. Bless their hearts, they're only 6, 7, and 8 years old, and those little girls know how to clean. Fantastic. But anyway, we had a wonderful weekend. Chilly out, but not so bad. It's about 25. So we were able to go out and do a little bit of slide. Now we were only out about a half hour or so because they'll get cold real quick. But anyway, with that, I did tell you all about my troubles with my car. But I'm not too worried about that because my son is a certified mechanic. Thank you. All I got to do is find it. They aren't cheap. Radiators they can be a little bit pricey. So because that's something that, if I had to, I would be able to go and get it right now. But you know what? I just want to go by the budget. And I very seldom drive my car during this time of the winter. Very seldom. And if I needed to go someplace, I've always got my husband's car. So it's just going to sit and we're just going to wait until, I put it in the budget and then I'll get it. But I'll find a nice, a reasonably priced one online. It'll give me time to find the right deal. So that's going to be fixed. And along with that, I got to have the blinker light fixed on it and a sensor in the back wheel needs to be replaced. So, probably altogether under $300. And that's all right. That's doable. Anyway, so with that, I don't know how many of you, I haven't gone grocery shopping in goodness sakes. What, a couple weeks now? Maybe 3 weeks, I'm thinking. Yeah, I haven't done much grocery shopping because I haven't needed anything. And when I keep an eye on my Green Friday and my, more on Monday sales, nothing has come up that I've really needed or that has caught my eye. But freebies are always welcome here. I went and seen, that's how I found out about my radiator the other day. I fired up my car to heat it up, come back in the house, and about 20 minutes later I went back out and no heat. It was just blowing cool air. And I thought, oh yeah, the last time it did that it was just low on antifreeze. So I took it down there and here to find out there was a little crack in it. That's probably from this bitter cold. But anyway, I was okay. I did drive it over to my friend's, which is probably two miles away tops. So I drove over there and I got the freebies that he gave me. I have not opened these bags yet. I waited to do the Pantry Chit Chat so I can show you just what I got for free. And mind you, this stuff that I've got for free, hopefully it's something that I can put down into into my new pantry. And I hope everybody's following along with that still, because your pantry should be getting pretty good size by now. You should be getting a pretty good amount of goodies in your pantries. And I think there's been, I don't know if Meijer had a 10 for 10 sale or not, but there's been some good sales. But I don't know about your area. Okay, let's see. What in the world do we got here? 2 bags all tied up. Okay, you're gonna like this. This is everybody asked me where I get my powdered milk. This is Mountain Made Instant Non-Fat Dry Milk. Okay? And I believe they get this from the government commodities. And I don't know why people, they say, oh, I don't want that powdered milk. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I don't like powdered milk. If you've ever had to buy even the instant powdered milk in the store, it is ridiculously expensive. And then you can get the powdered dry milk, not the instant, the non-instant powdered dry milk, which uses, okay, you would use half the amount if it's regular powder milk than you would the instant powder. You tend to use more of this. So anyway, these are nice. I use a lot of these. And I'll show you where I keep these. If I don't fall off my stool, one of these days I gotta fix that crazy thing. When I rearranged my pantry, I did a little craft with my granddaughters one year, and we decoupaged our little cheese boxes. And they've got kitty cats and all kinds of stuff on theirs, but I did all food on mine for my pantry. I thought they were cute. Anyway, I keep these all in here. And I've got 3 of them in there. I'm getting pretty low, but I never have to buy these because they're always, I always get them given to me. Because people don't like them. And I use them all the time. I don't drink it. Because of course I don't drink milk. I drink almond milk, but I don't serve it for drinking milk. I use it for baking and hot cocoa and, you know, all cooking all my stuff. Okay, so let's see what else we got. I got to put my cheaters on. We got pinto beans. Oh my gosh, this is 2 pound bag of pinto beans. You can't beat free. Wonderful. I've got all kinds of beans. Open, here's some more. Here's another one. This is a pound-sized bag of pinto beans. Those are wonderful to have. Okay, and these are ramen noodles. And you know what? I don't really eat these, but I use the noodles in them. And I don't want to say that because my grandbabies will eat them. I don't want to say I never eat them. My husband will eat these too. I like to make my ramen noodles homemade. I'll use these noodles and throw the sauce or the packet out, the seasoning packet out, and use my own seasoning, and then put a few of my, you know, dehydrated veggies in there, and they turn out nice. So what ends up being the only thing I use is the noodles. Those are nice to have though. You know what? They're really nice to have in a pantry. So those are good. I'm going to put those down in my box. I got a box down there that has ramen noodles already in it. And this looks like more milk. And this is fantastic. And yes, it is. Wow, these are nice. These are a little over a pound. These are almost 2 pounds. These are really nice. 2 of them. Okay, so now I got 3, 4, 5 of these. So I'm getting back up there. I usually have about 15 bags of these in my pantry, in my stock, which I like to have that many because, but I went through a lot of them because this Christmas I did, oh boy, look at that all over the place. This Christmas I did a lot of coffee and cocoa and, you know, mixes like that for presents. So I went through quite a bit of my bags. But these are very, very, very nice to have. And they're quite pricey. So I set those down there. Let's see what else I got in here. I can open this up. Oh my gosh. You know, when my kids were young, I struggled. And I mean, I struggled to feed them. You know, I think that's why I've got such a huge pantry and it's always so stocked and well stocked, because when my kids were young, I went hungry. And I'll never go hungry again. I've learned too much over the years to go hungry. Oh, I got a treat. I got hot cocoa from the store. Don't worry, they won't see you. Oh, look at that. How nice that is. I don't get that very often. Okay. Anyway, I was telling you, I went hungry. I had a heck of a time feeding my kids. I was a single mother. I didn't know how to can. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I mean, I could cook good because of my grandma and my mother and all them, but my grandmother would can, but I never really paid attention to her. I learned how to can in my early 20s. I had my son I started having my children. I had my son when I was 19. So when I was in my early 20s, like 20, 21, 22, I learned how to can. I started learning. And it was a very, very wonderful, wonderful woman that took her time to teach me the basics of canning. Her name was Linda, and I'll never forget her. And I could never thank her enough, because she gave me the inspiration and the boot in the tail and the know-how to start doing it. And I'll tell you what, from that day on, when I started to learn how to can, I never went hungry. I learned how to can everything. And then I would get vegetables and stuff, and I would glean fields, you know, for potatoes and stuff like that, and I would gather and I would trade and I would barter, and I made the greatest compost ever when I was younger. I mean, I still could do it now. I still do my compost now, but I would trade vegetables and plants, and I had my little greenhouse and stuff like that. I would trade stuff like that for foods that I didn't grow, or meats or whatever. You know, I would trade a big old 50-pound bag of compost for a, you know, 2 or 3 bushels of vegetables that I could can up or freeze or dry or whatever I wanted to do with it. But yeah, I did very good. It was not easy, but once I learned, the sky was the limit, and I did very well. So anyway, enough babbling. I'll tell you more of that later. We got a 3-pound, make sure, yep, 3-pound bag of rice, enriched long grain rice. Oh, and I got more in here. I got 3, 4, 5 pounds of rice, free. You can't beat free. 5 pounds of rice. I'm gonna store that, and look at all those beans. Wow, I got some more. Oh, I got some great northern beans. Oh, these are wonderful to have. And this is a 2-pound bag. Those are nice. So I got pinto beans, great northern beans, rice. Look at all that. Fantastic. And what is this here? This is applesauce. Old-fashioned applesauce. You know what? My grandbabies love this stuff. So I'll save this for them, and it's good to throw it in their lunchbox. Though I have tons of applesauce that's homemade that I can. You can't beat this. This is fine. We'll put this right down in there and store that too. And then I've got some more of the ramen noodles. And these aren't too shabby. Even if you use their seasoning packet. I mean, if you want to avoid the additives and chemicals in it, fling the seasoning packet and make your own seasoning, because the noodles are just fine. Absolutely. Oh, my husband. He eats them. He'll put in like the chicken ones. He'll take a chicken packet and he'll put cheese and eggs in it. And I just about die. It's like, oh, can't do that. Can't do that at all. I'll make my own, and I'll make it like a noodle soup. All right, so that's all the stuff I got. I got 3 bags of milk, a bunch of ramen noodles, 5 pounds of rice, 2 pounds of beans, or actually 5 pounds of rice and 5 pounds of beans. That right there's worth some money. Fantastic. I'll put all this, except for the ramen noodles. I'm going to put them in where I already store my ramen noodles, but I'm going to put all these, because I don't need these right now, in my regular pantry. So I'm going to store this stuff down in the other pantry for, you know, stocking that on a budget, because you can't beat free in your budget. Anyway, so, oh, I got to taste my cocoa. The gas station makes the greatest cocoa, but I like mine, but this is pretty good. It's really rich and creamy. Oh, it just is wonderful. So I hope you all got your tea or your coffee, because we're going to chat today. I'm just going to tell you, I got all kinds of stories to share, and I see a lot of my comments. A lot of you are just starting out with your canning, or you know, preserving, or young women just starting with your children, bless your hearts. I will share with you everything I know to save you money, to help you learn how to can, to help you stock your pantry on a budget. I'll share everything I know. I've shared a lot. If you go back through in my videos, I already tell you how to, you know, good ideas to stock your pantry on a budget, and I tell you a lot of that. Plus, there's a lot of that information in the cookbook that I've written, and it's called Little Homestead Pantry. And for those of you who may be interested, I know a lot of you have already bought it, and thank you so much. That really helps to support me when you purchase my cookbooks. But for those of you who are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, because I'm so glad you're here. But I always have my links to my cookbooks in the description box. In every video there's a link. And if you go right to my channel page itself, up in the right hand or lower right hand corner of my banner, there's a little box that says cookbooks. You can click on that and it'll take you right to the web page where you can purchase the cookbook. And that has got, and I don't have one handy, I'm waiting for more to come in. I've ordered more. But that has all kinds of tips and tricks to save money, you know, preserving your food. All the recipes I got in it are all budget friendly. There might be a couple of them that aren't budget friendly, but those are the ones that came from my family, like my grandmother and that. And I had to include them. But most of those recipes, most all of them, 99% of them are all budget friendly. And they're wonderful. And they're easy, quick and easy, and very, you know, healthy. So you can't beat homemade cooking. And I'm pleased with all these beans. What a wonderful thing to get free. Yeah. I was watching Homestead Tessie, and she's just a doll. And she had a video on there where she got like 750 pounds of free rice. It's like, oh my Lord, I'm thinking, where in the world did she get 750 pounds of rice free? Well, she got it from a semi. Apparently there was a bunch of it rejected, which I know to be true, because when I was driving semi, there many times, if a forklift would even puncture, break the pallet, or any damage whatsoever on that pallet, they would reject the entire thing. And the one time we were hauling Sara Lee pies, we had a variety of pies, but they rejected like 2 or 3 pallets in the load, because when they loaded it at the Sara Lee plant up here in Traverse City, they damaged the pallets. Well, when we took it down to Pennsylvania, they took all of it, but they rejected 3 pallets. We had all these pies, and they're like, throw them in the dump. Just throw them in the dump, get back up there, we got to get more. And my husband and I are looking at each other, and it's like, I'm not throwing them out. You know, yeah, they're pies, but you know what? They're perfectly fine. It's not the pies that were damaged, it was the pallet. So we went to the nearest truck stop, got on the radio. I said, hey, we got 3 pallets of pies. If you want them, come on over. We got our lights flashing. We got rid of all those pies. We gave them all away. Not one was thrown out. Thank you. I'm telling you, we've done this with chicken. We've done it with produce. We've done it with all kinds of stuff. We would just go to the nearest truck stop, because they're always busy. And we'd put our 4-ways on, we'd get on the radio, and we'd tell people, you know what, we got a load of cucumbers, a load of produce, we got lettuce, we got whatever, chicken, frozen chicken, Tyson chicken, you know, whatever, come get it if you want it. And people would just, they'd come from all over. And it would be gone within a couple, 2-3 hours. You'd be emptied out. And how I would have loved to have been able to bring some of that home, but by the time I got home, you know, it wouldn't be any good. You can't run your refrigeration unit, you know, for a couple packs of chicken, you know, to go 900 miles back to get another load. It wasn't feasible. So we had to give it all away, but at least none of it went in the dumpster. And then I was at a truck stop one time, I couldn't believe this. The gentleman had a load of, and when I'm talking load, I'm talking 40,000 pounds. Your load on your semi, we could haul with our refrigeration unit, we could haul about 44,000 pounds in our trailer. Well, this guy was hauling hams. Not these were like the processed ham, you know, like Bonanza hams, whatever. I don't know. They were just the round ones. It wasn't like the ham with the bone or the ham shank or whatever they call it. It was already processed ham, like for slicing lunch meat. Well, they, I don't know how much, but this company had, or this distribution center where he delivered it to had like 4 or 5 dumpsters. And I mean like 10-yard dumpsters, huge dumpsters. And he had 3 of them full, where he had to throw that ham out because they rejected it because when the forklift went into, you know, you go in to grab that pallet, well, they missed the pallet and went in through the bottom of the hams. So there was a section of those hams that were no good because they were all, you know, pierced with a forklift. But the ones above it were absolutely fine. And so they rejected that pallet and like 2 or 3 pallets all around it because of that. And it's like, oh my God, they had all these hams. And I mean, these are what, you know, 10, 15-pound hams? I couldn't believe it. And there was people just like vultures in a feeding frenzy in those dumpsters. And I thought, why didn't that guy just wait and unload, you know, fling them out from the trailer, just go into the far side of the like we used to do. We'd go to the far side of the truck stop and open up the doors, and there you have it. Have at it. Take what you want. Otherwise it's going in the junk, in the trash, because we can't do nothing with it. But anyway, there's, you know, why couldn't they have given it to soup kitchens instead of just throw it in a dump? Throw it in a dump. People can eat on that. That's I never could understand that. But I always had to say I salute all the truckers who would give it away and not throw it out. I'm telling you, I was a semi-driver for years. I salute truckers, because anything that you touch in your house, anything that you touch, and I mean anything, unless you've grown it yourself, anything that you've touched has come to you via a truck. And people like us that have sacrificed our home time, our home life, our family, and just almost everything to drive back and forth to make sure, you know, all this stuff was delivered. And you don't get, it's not the greatest pay. It really isn't. And trucking is not really a career. It's more of a way of life. Bless the truckers. Especially on the holidays when we sit down to a nice big fat turkey and they're driving down the road, you know, lonesome and nobody to talk to. It's rough. It's rough being a trucker. I commend them all. I did it for 12 years and I commend them all, especially the ones that have trucked for 30 and 40 years. I just don't know how they did it. Anyway, so with that being said, that's where she got the 750 pounds of rice. Bless her little heart. She's a sweetheart. And I certainly hope that, you know, I'm sure 750 pounds of rice, she's going to be sharing it with a lot of her friends and her family, and she won't have to buy rice probably for the rest of her life, because that's a lot of rice. But bless her heart. Because, you know, even the soup kitchens apparently were up there. The churches were up there getting rice, and that's a wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful. I saw one guy had Nike shoes. They rejected pallets of shoes, and he was giving away Nike shoes, and Levi jeans I've seen given away. I used to go down to, oh my gosh, when we would deliver and pick up produce down by Tucson, not Tucson, yeah, maybe it was Tucson, Arizona. Yuma, Arizona, down in that area, down along the border. We would go to this one place where you could get, Levi's are not cheap. You buy them up here, they're what, $60 to $80 a pair, maybe even more depending on where you buy them. But I used to, when we'd go down there, it was either Yuma or Tucson. Now it's been so long, I don't remember exactly where. But anyway, I would get them for $3 a pair. Right across, they'd come right across the border. This store was a little outlet store, and you could go in there, and I kid you not, the same pair of jeans that you would pay $80 for up here in the mall, you would get for $3 down there. I used to always load up on jeans. Any kind, any sizes, whatever, because I always knew somebody that could use a new pair of jeans. For $3, why not? Shirts were a couple dollars. It was a great big, huge outlet store. Oh yeah, we'd fit the truck in there somehow. I'd tell my husband, I know you can do it, just park it in there. We'll do it. I'd get in there, I'd get the truck parked in there. Oh, don't ask me how I did it, but I'd get it in there, and I'd tell him, well, no, you get us out. I got us in here, you get us out. He'd laugh at me. But anyway, with that, we had a ball. And you can get a lot of free stuff. People talk about dumpster diving, how some people say that, you know, it's beneath them to go in a dumpster, or dumpster diving is bad. Dumpster diving is not illegal. For those of you who think it might be legal, it is not illegal, because there is a law out that states, you know what, without looking up this law and giving it to you word for word, in a short version of it, people that throw stuff out into a dumpster, whatever is in that dumpster becomes public domain. You can go to that dumpster. Now, unless they have signs otherwise, usually it's not illegal. They might throw you off their property, but you're not going to get charged with a fine, or you're not going to get prosecuted for stealing or anything, because it's not illegal. But anyway, dumpster diving can be a good thing, because you never know what you're going to find in there. Boy, those people that were dumpster diving when that guy was throwing a ham in there, they were there at the right place at the right time, and let me tell you what, I would have done the same thing, because I would have been catching it before it hit that dumpster, but I would have done the same thing because it was fresh going into that dumpster. It's not like it was sitting there for days and days. And then when we were in New Jersey, we were delivering to a potato factory. Oh, I don't remember where we were coming from, but we were delivering to a potato factory. And we were sitting out on the side of the road waiting to be unloaded. But we were watching, because we were back behind the building. And we were watching, and as the place is sorting these potatoes on the inside of the warehouse, they've got all the rejects that they're throwing out are coming out, and they're dumping them by, bulldozer bucket load fulls in this like 10, 20-yard dumpster. Well, there's people digging them out of these dumpsters. I kid you not, they were digging the best of the worst out of the dumpster and putting them in 50-pound bags, and they were selling them right there. People were driving up. I mean, this is something that had to have been going on for a long time, because people knew exactly, obviously, what day, what time, what not, because they were pulling up there, opening up their trunks and buying, 2, 3, 4 bags of these potatoes. I have no idea, but you know what? Why were they throwing them out then? Probably just like the deer carrots. They're just odd shaped, odd sized. They're not pretty. They only want the pretty ones. It all tastes the same. If it's not pretty, it's like going to Meijer. You can buy the ugly fruit. You can spend, here you go. You can spend $1 for a jumbo orange, which I got these 5 for $4, or 4 for $5. So I spent a little more on a jumbo orange. Or you can get the ugly fruit that may be a little bit smaller, or might have something different color on them, you know, some of the green on them or whatever, or bruised or whatever. You could buy it for half the price. I've done both ways. I just got those because those were enormous. And those are nice. But when you talk about whatever I'm talking about, I'm going off on a tangent, like I always do. Freebies, free food. You get free food everywhere. I'm amazed. All the places that I've driven to, that I've been to driving semi, and all the things that I've seen, like those potatoes in that factory, I'm just amazed. Absolutely. How people would throw something like that out just because it's not appealing looking. I don't know. I've canned up bags of deer carrots. They're big carrots. They're big sweet carrots, just like the pretty little ones you get in the store. But you know what? I got them here somewhere. I got carrots down here. These are all cut up and diced up from deer carrots. Been washed, peeled, everything. And they're wonderful. My grandbabies love them. And I got, what is it, a 30-pound bag of them for like $3. Well, if you got a 30-pound bag of the pretty ones, you might be paying a lot more than $3. But I'll take the deer carrots. I'll take that. When I used to glean fields for potatoes, after the farmers went through, I did it with potatoes and beans. And the one farmer, I used to trade him, I'd trade him a bushel of tomatoes. Sometimes it would be Roma, sometimes it was Rutgers. You know, it was usually the good canning tomatoes and stuff like that, because his wife was an avid canner. But I would trade him, most of the time it was Roma tomatoes. I would trade him a bushel of tomatoes for a bushel of his beautiful green beans. But then I'd go through and I'd glean the field too. But I do that with potatoes too. Up in by Sutton's Bay, there were farmers that would let you glean their fields. Now this has been years ago. I don't know if they do it anymore because people get picky, you know, liability. But years ago we used to do that. And I'd just go through and I'd get, you know, 50, 60, 70 pounds of potatoes. It's just after the tractors went through, you just go through and pick up what they left behind. You can get some nice potatoes. I'd can them up, cook them up, mash them, freeze them, whatever it took. But after I went hungry and I learned how to do things, there was no stopping. And that's probably why my pantry is stocked so full and I could feed families for a year or so. Because I'll never go hungry again. That's awful. Absolutely awful. An awful, awful feeling to go hungry. But my children never, ever, ever, not once have my children ever seen a hungry day. Never, not once. I was so poor when my kids were young. So poor, it was pathetic. I had a friend of mine give me a treadle machine. You know, the old Singer treadle machines that operate with your foot on the pedal, the treadle machine. And I used to make diapers, my cloth diapers out of outing flannel. My kids had the most colorful cloth diapers ever. But you know what? They worked. I sewed blankets. I sewed their clothes. I made everything I possibly could. But see, I always knew how to sew. That I learned from my mother is a fantastic seamstress, and she always taught me how to sew. And plus, when they had home ec in school, you know, why did they take that out of schools? I don't understand, but they did. I always took home ec and I loved it. But I did sew before I was in my teens when I was sewing. So I continued doing that. I made their clothes, I made their diapers, I made the blankets, I did, you know, the linen napkins, my tablecloths, my curtains. I even sew sheets, pillowcases, you know, anything I can sew, I'll sew. Doesn't matter to me. I used to take old towels that I would get at a yard sale or find in a dumpster somewhere that were, you know, ripped or torn or had a hole in them, and I would sew, I would sew and repair them, and then I would take the edges and I'd sew some lace on the edge and make it look pretty so it was nice and usable. And my gosh, there's how you get some towels. But I did all kinds of stuff, friends. I have done whatever I needed to do to survive, except for steal. I never stole a thing in my life. Never. I would ask you first, but I wouldn't take it. And that's bad news. Bad news right there. Never steal nothing from anybody. People work too hard for what they got. But anyway, I would do whatever I could legally to survive. And I learned how to make everything. I learned how to, cook. My mother had me cooking at 8 years old, and my grandparents, but I learned how to can. I learned more preserving food. I learned how to dehydrate food. And I learned a lot of this as I went along in life, And my kids never went hungry, and the money that I saved from preserving and growing my own food and sewing my own stuff, I was able to, get them other things they needed that I couldn't make myself. Shoes, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how rough I had it when my kids were little. And there was no dollar stores. Oh my goodness. How I wish there would have been a dollar store when my kids were little. I had my children in the late 80s. 86, 87, and 88. I had 3 children. Bang, 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 right in a row, stair step. 86, 87, and 88. In fact, my daughters are the same age 2.5 months out of the year because I had my youngest 10 weeks premature. And they'd have been the Irish twins. Well, they are still Irish twins, but they would have been just about a year apart. But I had her premature, and oh my goodness, folks, I'll tell you what, she was a miracle baby, but she was so early, and back then, it was riskier than what it is now, but she was 6 pounds at 10 weeks early. She'd have been about a 12-pound baby if I'd have carried her full term. Wow. Ouch. Anyway, so I did all kinds of stuff when they were little. And like days like this, we made snow ice cream, and I really should do a video on that too. We did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of stuff with my kids. I would put all the ingredients for ice cream to make ice cream in coffee cans. And I would take it in a small coffee can, and then I would put it inside the big coffee can, and they would roll it around outside in the snow. They would roll it all around, and while they were making their snowmen or whatever, they'd be sledding, they'd be having that ice cream. And then when they come in, we'd put it in the freezer to get it nice and cold, and then they'd be able to enjoy ice cream later. We did all kinds of stuff, made our own stuff. Sometimes we'd go out when we'd have the fresh fallen snow, and you scoop a little bit of it up, not the yellow stuff. You scoop a little bit of it up and you make your snow ice cream. That's pretty good stuff. But you got to get the clean snow, or else you leave a big bowl out there, because the way we get snowfall, we could get a foot or better overnight. I would put a big bowl out on a little table or out on my porch, and the fresh snow would fall in it, so it wouldn't be dirty or anything like that falling in that bowl, and bring it in and make your snow ice cream, and it was always fun. And I could go on and on and on and on about stories when my kids were little and what I did to save money. And I worked like 2 or 3 jobs. But we'd do a lot of camping, and we do all kinds of stuff. We had all kinds of fun and never had to spend. Very minimal money, very minimal. If we went camping, about the only thing I spent was the money for gas to drive there. That was it. And canning, when I started canning, the sky was the limit. After I started canning everything. And I strictly, and that's the other thing I want to tell anybody who's just starting out canning, don't trust, and I know this is going to sound really bad, and forgive me, I'm not bashing anybody, and I'm not saying that people don't know what they're doing. But if you're brand new to canning, please, please, please don't trust any recipe out there online. Start with the USDA website. They've got all the free publications for the home canning and preserving. They've got recipes, the blue book, ball blue books, curve books, all those. Do your homework on it first. Don't just trust a recipe, because I'll tell you what, a simple mistake can make you deathly sick. So please, if you're new to canning, don't trust anything out there. Go to the USDA website. And you know what? In fact, I will put a link to that in the bottom of, down in my description box. I will put a link to the USDA website for their home canning and food preservation. It's fantastic. They tell you everything you need to know. You can even learn the science behind canning, which is a good thing to know. Perfect. So do that before you start using recipes online. Please. You will have successful and safe canning. That's all I'm going to say. You go through the USDA, you will have successful and safe canning. I had a friend not too long ago that said, he made beef vegetable soup, and it was fully cooked. Fully cooked. I said, he says, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw it. It won't take me that long. I'm just going to throw it in a canner, and I'm going to seal it up, and it'll be all done. And I'm thinking, no, something's not right there. Maybe he just left me. I said, I'm out of the loop. I said, you left something out. I said, how are you going to do it? He says, all you got to do if it's completely cooked, he says, it's so easy. He said, all you got to do is put your lids on and your rings on, finger tight. He said, put it in the canner and turn it on, and when it starts to jiggle, shut it off and just leave it alone, and they'll be sealed. I said, you're going to kill yourself. You cannot, absolutely not do that. I don't care if meat is cooked or raw. It must can for 90 minutes. Cooked or raw, doesn't matter. 90 minutes. I said, if you do that, you're gonna kill yourself. All there is to it. Botulism is nothing to play with. The botulinum put off a bacteria that's neurotoxin, and one bite could kill you. It's deadly. And if you prepare your jars like that, that's what you're playing with. So I told him I had to give him a big lecture, So now he doesn't do that anymore. I said, no, you can't do that. It's got to go. Meat, anything meat has to go. Beans have to go for 90 minutes. Anything with meat in it, 90 minutes. Doesn't matter. Now, I've taken my jars, nice clean, and you don't have to sanitize your jars either if they're going to process for longer than 10 minutes. It's not necessary anymore because they get sanitized or sterilized in the processing, when they're processing. So you can take raw potatoes, raw meat, raw onions, raw carrots, and layer it all up in your jar. Put some salt, seasoning, whatever you want in that jar. Fill it up with broth, about ½ inch of headspace. Fill it up with water, whatever. Wipe your rims. You don't even have to boil your lids anymore. Just rinse them in, nice hot water. Put them on there. Put them on finger tight. Put them in your canner. 90 minutes. You got a beautiful jar of beef stew. But if you take beef stew that's already cooked, you put it in that pint, follow all the same thing, and just leave it in there till it comes up to pressure and turn it off, well, you might as well just put it in the jar and throw it on the shelf because it's not going to last. You'll be lucky if it seals. So, go to the USDA website, because anybody that's brand new to canning, that's the advice I always give them. Don't trust any recipe. Go to the USDA website, get familiar with canning, the science behind it, the things that are low acid foods, high acid food, and get to know pressure canning and water bath canning, and you know, you'll be good. You'll have successful, safe canning. And then go from there. Educate yourself on botulism. And I always tell people, if you don't want botulism in your jars, or out of your jars, don't put it in them. And that cocoa's awfully good. What a treat. Anyway, so I have shared quite a bit with you already today. I'm having fun. I just jib-jab, and I'm sorry. No rhyme or reason to it, I just jib-jab. But you get to know me a little bit each time. And I've learned so much over the years. And most of it was when I was young, you know, with canning and food preserving and all that, and sewing and cooking and budget meals and budget shopping and saving money. Heck, I didn't have any money to save. But I still, you know, I had to figure out how to buy, you know, $100 worth of groceries with $10. But I did it. I did it. Now, maybe not $100 worth, but I could buy $100 worth of groceries for $50. Real easy, and I still could to this day. I can get a mountain of groceries because I buy everything on sale. And anyway, I'm going to put these in my new pantry. And I want to know in the comments, tell me, people, in the comments below, how many of you are following along with me to do your pantry. You know, to stock your pantry on a budget. You can't get much more budget than this, much more budget friendly than free. I'm telling you what, perfect. That's, I don't know how much, you know, let's say you could go to, even going to Dollar General, there's, you know, $6 here. Or not Dollar General, but Dollar Tree. They sell the beans and stuff, and the rice, and what, you know, maybe $6 there. Even at that, if you're only putting in $10 away, there's $6. $6 of free food. And I always tell people too, say you don't like beans. If you don't like beans, take them if they're free, because you can trade somebody for some rice. You might know somebody that doesn't like rice, and you can say, hey, I'll trade you a bag of beans for a bag of rice, or I'll trade you these beans for a jar of beef stew, or whatever, you know. I barter and trade quite a bit. I trade him, my friend, a lot of, oh gosh, pickles, and he likes pickles. He likes my dried stuff, my dehydrated goodies, and some of my spice blends. So I trade him a lot of stuff like that for the milk, or chicken, my jarred chicken. This stuff turned out wonderful. When I did this chicken breast, I put pepper in it. Oh my goodness, I put pepper, and I didn't can it with just water. I put a little bit of, oh my gosh, what did I put in there? A little bit of onion soup mix, I think is what I did, with a little bit of pepper. It turned out fantastic. That's even good, draining it and using it for chicken salad. Yummo. Okay, so I've got my other granddaughter here. She's out watching TV with Papa. And I'm going to put these in away. And oh, I told you the last time when I was cleaning my shelves and that, when I did my cleaning my pantry for the month, that I wasn't going to touch that closet. Well, yesterday, all three of my granddaughters came in here, and they helped me, and I'll show you. They helped me clean out and organize that entire closet, as well as under the cabinet here where I've been keeping my stuff for our pantry. And I got my spices put in on the top shelf, and they helped me organize everything. And I'm just in seventh heaven with it, because it's all clean and organized, and I love it. So I'm about to show you, and I'll turn the camera back on in just a minute. Okay, now this is pretty dark in here. I gotta put my cheaters on. I can't see anything. I got potatoes up here stacked. These are my potatoes, my dehydrated potato slices. And then here are all the extra jars that were underneath the new pantry. And then on this shelf is all my pans. And somebody asked me where I got these little pans with the lids. I get these at the Dollar Tree. Not Dollar General, the Dollar Tree. And they come 3 in a pack for $1. You can't beat it. And that shelf is pretty much empty. And then that shelf is just goodies down there. You know, colored pencils and my shower caps. And somebody told me that they sell the different size covers for your bowls at Dollar Tree, which I'll keep that in mind. But a friend of mine gave me an entire case, and I'm talking a case of shower caps free. So I couldn't beat that price at all. Anyway, my cat food is in there. It looks like a litter box, or a litter bucket. But I cleaned and washed it all out and, you know, sanitized it. And after it dried, I put my cat food in there, and it stays nice in there. So, okay, down here is what we cleaned out. So I'm happy that that one's all clean. There's all my spices. And I can easily get to them. How I wish I could have shelves. But when my husband makes the shelves here and on this side of the... Let me see here. When my husband makes shelves, all on that wall is going to be all shelving. Then he'll build me a section for just my spices. So down there, those 2 shelves down there are for the new pantry. And that bin down there is, I can't fit any more in it. It's already full of rice and beans and noodles. So I'll have to put the rice and beans in fact, I'll set it down here. I'll put these all down here. And these will be nice. And those were all free. Wonderful, huh? These can go down here. And we are good. Then I can close that up. That's getting pretty full. But I'll keep going for a little bit until you all get the swing of it. When I don't think anybody's following along, or I think you're all set, then I'll incorporate that into my regular pantry. So anyway, with that, everything is done in here and cleaned in here. And that closet is clean, and I'm so happy for that. And we lost the apple tree. Those of you who I told we planted the apple seed, little Miss Stella just cried her little heart out because her apple tree died. And I told her, I said, we'll do more. I says, we're bound to get one that's going to last. So if we can't get one started from seed for her, we'll surely buy a whip this year, apple tree whip, and go from there. I got a kitty out here. Out my window. Little black kitty. So, alright. Anyway, there you have it, friends. I hope you had a nice time in a chit chat. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.